So this is the last session, the panel discussion. So, I understand you guys are sitting here for a long time, and there has been a big dose of all kind of digital transformation and manufacturing going on. And we understand how patiently you are sitting here, grasping all the knowledge, participating on all the discussions, and encouraging panel and the speaker. So I would also like same kind of treatment here to here. And I am highly obliged with such kind of panel and the speaker we have. So they all are from very good industries, having loads of experience, and they have done a lot of successful implementations and kind of knowledge they have provided in their own industries. I'm overwhelmed over that. So before we start the discussion, so I would be, we thought that we would script some questions here so that the panel can answer. But I really thankful to these guys that we had another discussion just before this meeting, and we were able to articulate our discussion in such a manner that all of you will be surely liking it at the end of this session. And after, during the end of this session, we will spare some 2 or 3 minutes where you guys will be having some opportunity where you can interact with us. And I'll leave it to the organizer to see whether it is possible or not. So my first question to all of the speaker here, that how you see that the culture which is happening in our industries, that it is going to impact the implementations and the process and the kind of transformation which we are witnessing in our manufacturing industries. So I would like to break the order, and I will start from the end.
Hi, good evening, everyone. This is Saurav. So before I get into this question, I like to take another minute, like 1 minute, to brief you about the industry I come from. So basically, I come from garment industry, like sole operation experience. With my exposure to garment industry and typical shop floor exposure, I like to tell you one thing. So this industry 5.0, 4.0, whatever we are talking about here, it has separate set of meaning for all the industry. So for us, garment industry, the requirements are quite different than any other. Like, so because of the different set of requirement, there is this one thing which comes to the senior management, higher management people in our industry also, that's FOMO. Fear of missing out. Like, we generally have this, like, okay, like there are a lot of automation going on in Tata Motors and all those, like Toyota and everywhere. But we cannot expect the same to get replicated in all the industry. Good that Mr. Henry Ford gave us this assembly line system. We are like thankful to him because that's the most efficient, most effective form where we are able to get the most production out of it. But again, here, the requirements are quite different for our industry in the same way. I would like to, can you just repeat what exactly you want me to focus on, like that one sum? The culture, yeah,
culture.
Of course, the cultural part. The cultural difference is that our manpower, the people here working with us, are blue-collar people. Like the task we have, 95% of the workers are blue-collar people, where they are, like, most of them are sort of illiterate. They don't know how to read and write. So to upskill them, to make them understand that this automation is so crucial for us, for the company, to align them with the same objective is very important, and it's very challenging also on the same time. So every time, like you have those fancy seminars and all those where you upgrade your manpower, like you send your mid-management people for upgradation to learn all those management and all those things. But here, in our company, what we have to do, we have to make them understand the very basic. You know, like what example we generally use. You remember, like the basic people, like the workers, they used to come, they used to write their attendance like 20 years back. Then this whole punching thing came into the picture. Then now this photo attendance is there. So this is how we have evolved. So that's what we have to make them understand. कि आपको अगर वहाँ पे जो हमें process हमने डाला है to track down those basic things like to avoid repetition of work, to know NVS, non-value added activities, you need to do this certain activity and make them understand that this will not take your job. That's very crucial to make them understand that this is not going to replace you, this is going to help us in some way or the other. So please do it and help us upgrade ourselves. So that's one thing.
Thanks. So in interest of time, so I would request everybody to summarize in next 2 to 3 minutes. So Mr. Rakesh, how do you see that, because you are coming from a very well-known brand, Godrej, so everybody know about that, and it is very well-known brand in our all industries. So how you think this is going to be a key turner?
So Vikasji, very pertinent question, and maybe before I go there, and when you talk about culture, I think culture is the backbone of everything. When you talk about manufacturing as smart manufacturing, how the manufacturing can be smart without smart people. So I think skill building plays an important role, and without having smart people, you can't have smart manufacturing. So that is part number one. So I represent a company, Godrej Group, and Godrej has got two organizations under this one same name. One has got the manufacturing with the part of the name itself called as Godrej and Boyce Manufacturing Company. The other is the Godrej Industries Limited, which I represent, has got interest in the real estate, housing, chemical, FMCG, and also in agriculture technology. So all these companies and verticals, we have 5 listed companies. So all of them, they were the independent individual. They had the network and IT infrastructure until 2017. So 2017, the organization took a decision to move towards this industry 3.0, and now we are talking about 4.0 and 5.0. So over a period of time, what we have done is all these verticals had the independent network and IT infra, which was not so agile and not so flexible in nature. So doing any innovation and kind of expansion was difficult task. So when we adopted the multi-cloud approach, and now over a period of time, now we see all these companies becoming more agile, and the kind of infra and IT and network and the multi-cloud approach that we share and adopt, this has saved almost 15% on IT infra cost alone. So the manufacturing 5.0, or we call it 4.0, and we don't know where we are in the part of this journey. So I think this has to add on to the profitability as well and smartness as well. And overall, we have about 85 manufacturing plants in India. And with this journey of smart manufacturing and also maybe adding on to the technology every passing day, so Godrej at large, at our manufacturing plant, we use the artificial intelligence for running our production line and also ensuring and also calculating at what speed these manufacturing lines should run, whether we should slow down, whether we should increase the speed, and also having the maybe most of it, the data is used for the preventive maintenance as well. And also analyzing and kind of detecting which machine needs more maintenance. Maintenance means cost. Downtime means again adding on to the cost and the disruptions in the production system. So I think over a period of time, we have adopted this, and this is adding on to our top line, bottom line, and the quality systems as well. So I think the culture is very important, and as I said in the starting, having smart people, as a part of this overall backbone of the systems, add on to the lot of advantage, and we are really moving towards the smart manufacturing. Thank you.
Great. So that is a punchline. Smart manufacturing start with smart people.
Absolutely.
So that is the kind of transformation we are expecting. Yeah, Mr. Sushil.
Good afternoon, everybody. And thank you, Vikas, for having all of us here today. I know that it's an afternoon time. Friday afternoon is supposed to be more busier than all of us. We all rush home, but I think we'll do it fast. We are into pharmaceutical business where I would say all sort of technologies are always welcome, starting from research to, I would say even before research, from gene sequencing up to the research, up to the clinical trials. So everywhere we have to upgrade ourselves every day so that you remain healthy, we remain healthy. So human being is the most complicated machine invented so far, and the amount of research which goes every day, you can't even imagine how much we have to work hard to keep all of us healthy. So I would say any technology is welcome, 4.0, 6.0, we are here to endorse. And I won't take much time on complicating things. Simply coming to the culture, I would say the biggest issue is the culture only. Last month we had a seminar from Shiv Khera, and one of the great points he was saying very simply, people are hired for their skills. People are hired for their skills. but they are fired for their attitude. So attitude is ultimate. Skills can be acquired, skills can be bought, but a culture है जो खरीदा नहीं जा सकता. I think that's the whole game. So now what is this culture? I think if we go a little back, the culture was when we had this Indian hierarchy system and the rulers. I mean, the name itself is ruler. You're supposed to hold a ruler. And we have heard stories of Thakurs getting work done under gunpoint. Then we came to democracy where we started having a hierarchy, multi-layer structure, we have labor laws. But end of the day, we slowly developed so many layers. Now we have a gap. The decision maker sitting in ivory tower doesn't know what's happening on ground. So even this 5.0 we are discussing here in the 5-star hotel, the poor guy sitting in the plant, right, like he said, he doesn't know what is this 5.0, for God's sake, what is this seminar. So the gap is increasing. I think the major challenge and the major opportunity, and I would say every challenge and opportunity, is the connect. We have launched in our organization a new program called Connect 360. So when I say Connect 360 means first you connect with your colleagues. Of course, I would say connect with your family also, but we are disconnected even with the family also. Connect with your team members and make a bubble out of it so that 2, 3, 4 of you sitting around the desk is one team. And then all teams connect together. Maybe we used to call it cross-functional team, but I'm still calling it one team. So the 2 teams connect together, so becomes a bigger team. And 5 teams get together, so become a company. But company in isolation is still in isolation. Today, you are, as a company, you can't be isolated. You got to connect to the outside world. So then the company connects with the stakeholder, you connect with the vendor, you connect with the investors, you connect with the government, and that becomes our country. And what Modi ji is doing today, now the country is connected to everybody else. So as a country, you are going and solving the problem. As a country, we are inviting other countries to come home. I think that's where this culture has to be adopted. So we need to remove these layers, these multiple layers, and we need to have I won't say even a flat structure, one structure. Even this team word is getting obsolete because team, again, you have to have a leader, you got to have 5 people, you got to have a structure. So now people are talking more frugal, more interconnected, and that's what I think is the talk of the day, need of the day. If we need 5.0 or 6.0, we need to connect. That's in short, I would say.
Thanks. Very wonderful lifetime examples you have shown.
Yep.
And
Thank you.
I think I want to add one thing, that finally this marriage has to take place between culture and the technology. Both will marry, and I think new manufacturing 6.0 or 7.0 will be born with a lot of AI and ML and stuff that will come. So next, Mr. Vineet, your views, please.
Yeah, thank you, Vikas, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. As a rule, I would like to connect to all the audience, 4 corners. That's the rule. You can hear me, gentlemen? Last one, please. You. Since we are spending quality time and effort, I would like to make it very fruitful, precise, and I'll come straight to the point. I am from automotive. My name is Vineet. There are 3 key points, Vikas. You talked about industry 4.0 to 5.0 transition and culture. I just want to address that. Automotive today is actually transitioning from 3 to 4. We are nowhere transitioning from 4 to 5, sorry to say, but this is a reality. 4 means the repetitive jobs, the mechanical jobs, the hazardous jobs are going to the machines, and these machines are connected on a big data. They are talking to each other, and that is helping us to improve productivity. Now, this is the transition that is happening. We are not yet there. This is a reality, and I need to communicate to you that, yes, that is a reality. When we transition from 4 to 5, it is machine and human being. All hazardous work, repetitive work goes to machine. All creative work and innovative work, they come to human being, but both operate in the same digital data environment. Gentlemen on that table, excuse me, can I have your attention, please? I prepared for you. Thank you. So, it is important that we understand this transition. When it comes to culture, the culture will start from the top, no matter what you do. It's the leadership that's going to make the difference. If leadership is committed and passionate about Industry 4.0, it will happen. Otherwise, it will not happen. There are no bottles because I think that single-use plastic took away our water bottles. But otherwise, I could have said that the bottleneck was also always on the top. So it's that culture part which starts from the leader. And where the leader has to work is actually skill upgradation and acquiring new skills. See, skill upgrade is one is your existing people need to go up in skills. Other is you need to acquire new skills so that the mixture of the skill give you the desired result. I think this is the framework on which as an industry we are working. We'll continue to work. It's a journey of passion, trust me. It's a journey of commitment. Money can get you machines, equipments, computers, everything. But machine cannot get you the passion and the will to implement Industry 4.0 and a transition from 4.0 to 5.0. Thank you.
Thanks, Mr. Vineet. So, Mr. Singh, you are coming from industry, which is one of the very prominent in automotive part business, and you have so many plants across India. So, your plants are also in various geographies in India, having many different people of different culture also. And how do you basically take up these things within your own plants and bringing all the people of different culture to the common objective?
Thank you very much. So just to set the tone further on top of what Mr. Sani said just now, the culture starts from top. I would like to stick because culture eats all strategy. So whatever we discuss here and then we forget, right? So culture starts from top means if you look at the India top view, it's a leadership Prime Minister Modi. Definitely many things are being done. But the whole ecosystem has a big challenge. And that is where there is a problem. So wherever there are policies, people are enforced to do. Since there is no policy, by default, like he said, top-driven, passion, and many things, so industries are doing it. So India has a cultural issue from top. And that's why there is a challenge. So when you study, nowadays if you want, no need this kind of conference, on a Google, you will get maybe in GPG chart also, what is Industry 5. But certainly, nobody would be able to correlate with from where we should start and where we should go. So, coming to the topic, the culture must be driven from the top. That's a problem here in the country. But now, again, as an individual capacity of our organization, we have multi-locations all around the world, leading company from India to the becoming a global MNC. We have many plants, so we need to have a live update of entire database into the corporate that how healthy situation is right now in all the plants. However, maybe it is not balanced everywhere, but in a smaller steps, most of the human jobs are being replaced in step by manner, especially the products which has a technological disruptions, because we are not balanced with the smart manpower, as you said, that those who can operate those machines or make those products. So we are trying to have a roadmap of eliminating the available technologies and trying to change this culture, having a strong roadmap of digital transformation, whether it is a manufacturing, supply chain, or anything which is related to the engineering activities. So Industry 5, like Mr. Mittal is sitting here, we were discussing, Industry 5 is nothing but consolidation of all technologies to take out all the human repetitive job and then add the values by human in, as Mr. Sani said, creativity and innovations and etc. etc. Today our industries does not have any roadmap framework except for organization those who are driving. So we need to have a transformation through the roadmap, linkages, and giving the benefits, considering the three focus area as we discussed pre-Daniel, that the Industry 5 is focused on the human centricity, number one. Number two is the resilience response to the dynamic situation, like there is a war in Ukraine, there is a lot of disruptions happening around this to support the ecosystem which has a linkages to Russia and these countries. Same happened in COVID-19. So how do we get benefit of the technologies around this to, take advantage and transform from industry 4 to industry 5. So I agree with him that we are between 3 to 5, but the smart organizations are actually thinking in 5 while transitioning into the 3 to 4. So India is always having leapfrog approach in all the technologies, for example. So hybrid has not been fully implemented in the automotive, but EVs leapfrog, high focus framework, everything is happening. Same thing can be possible here also. The last thing is the sustainability part, which we have to return to the society, that we should not contribute to the sustainable global environment and many, many things. So that also will get attached to through the industry 5, that what is your contribution into the sustainability part as a global responsible country and organization. So the bottom line is that culture must start from the country top, then individual organization, and then so on. And then we value the human-centric. Human values, because of the celebrity approach from industry 1 to the industry 5, the mindset is the problem. So mindset has to be transformed, like this seminar, through the various communication. Be critics to the government, to the people, to the organization. Nobody is criticizing today. Dissonance is required. There is no dissonance. We are all resonating with the mindset of labor-intensive country. We may be feeling proud, like a China, number 1. But when I go to China, I see industry 5 is there. Definitely it is there. So they are ahead when they were also like us. So that cultural wave is required. There is a wave movement required in the country to be critics to the ongoing all ecosystem, framework, and everything. A lot of intelligent companies are here. Even the Dassault system has a lot of things done on industry 5 around the world. But is there anyone to listen? No. The right voice is not reaching to the right man, maybe Prime Minister Modi. Like self-reliance we were talking. Self-reliance is not done today. I am from the Indo-Danish tool room that was built in 1983 to bring technology as a self-reliance approach. If you Google, you will find out the document. So now Modi has created wave around it. So there is no wave around industry 4, 5, no policy. So cultural problem is from the top. Sorry, I took more time. Yeah. Thank you.
It's fine. So that topic really needs some time. So I would really request, because the Dassault system has come up, so we have the guy around here. We'll speak about everything.
So thank you, Vikas. And I will be crisp, keeping the time in mind. Culture.
I thought that you would be first to answering my question when I started the panel discussion.
Right. Till that time you get a chance to speak, it is all right. So for me, culture is closely associated with people. And the way we are working today will change drastically as we go forward with 4.0 or even 5.6.0, whatever technology we brings in. Saurabh started with saying acquisition of new skills. Yes, that would probably be the first point which we have to address, but not the last point. Because no more we can afford to acquire a skill and be there with that skill. The change which will come is a continuous learning cultural shift in people. Technology will change very, very rapidly, and we cannot afford to learn one thing, and assume that this will be sufficient for times to come. So that is not going to happen. So the one cultural shift which will happen is a culture of continuous learning. And we as leaders have to ensure that this happens within the organization and in the ecosystem. Second point is, no more individual will be working in isolation. He will either be working with a machine or working with peers in the same or different departments. Everything is data driven. So those times when we were able to do just our job on our own is over. It is a connected enterprise, and we have to now start learning and behaving how to collaborate with man and machine to deliver what we are expected to do. That is the second point. Next point is the sense of responsibility which needs to change. Data-driven economy, you will have access to a lot of data, which means that we have to imbibe this ethics in ourselves, that while we have access to this much data, we make sure that this data is used constructively. Although I know there are systems and processes to build that security around, but eventually it still boils down to the ethics of a person. So that cultural shift is definitely required among all of us to be responsible enough that this data is consumed and used in an ethical way. And lastly, while we do a lot of stress as of now on physical health, going forward, the mental health aspect also will take a leaps and bounds in terms of changing. Most of the time, it is the cerebral thing which human will be doing, and all, like others mentioned, that repetitive task is going to go for machines. If you use more brain, of course, you have to take care of your mental health. So that is the cultural shift I anticipate which will happen going forward.
Thanks very much. I think audience need to clap a bit more so that we can hear. So it's a basically kind of boost for us. Thanks. So now coming out of culture now, because there has been a lot of cultural talks. So the question will be open, then I will also invite audience to participate with us. So the question is highly open. What kind of key bottlenecks, because we see the manufacturing 5.0 is evolving, started with 3, 4, and 5. Now the human interface has also come up. The system like Dassault is also supporting us technologically and also evolving. Technology was also there quite a long back, and it is also evolving. So it's kind of an ecosystem which is working. So what kind of challenges you see in coming future? So currently we have many challenges. So we will not speak about current challenges because everybody is now facing also. What kind of challenges which we will have in future, the way technology, the way the global economy is integrating, government schemes are coming up, they are changing the complete system, because you know how the PLI system came and it completely changed how the manufacturing system should go off and how the trade relationship also goes off, because everything is linked with profits. Technology will also only help to achieve those objectives. So I make it just open, and anybody in the panel who want to take up this question.
I'll start. I would say the biggest challenge is, now since we are talking of improvement, the biggest challenge is again the human being, and like we said, the culture part. Biggest challenge is the resistance to the change. We are so engraved and so engrossed in our past, so we don't want to leave our past and go to the future. Even though we know as a team, and as a team leader we know, but we want to go out of our comfort, but maybe the team is not ready to go out of the comfort. And like I said earlier, we have multiple layers. So it's very difficult to break all the layers and barriers and even to connect with the lowest person that this is what we want to do. Because whatever you want to do, it ultimately gets stopped at some level. So efforts are done, and we remember that even when the new officer comes in any organization, or even when Modi ji came, there was a lot of resistance at a bureaucratic level. I think resistance to change is the biggest thing. We all know what are good things. We all know technology. We all know digitization. We all understand the meaning. But when we really go to implement it, I think to crack that thing, because ultimately that's why I say you can buy technology, you can buy expertise. People are sitting here within this room, you will find 20 people who are ready to offer technologies. But question is to get it implemented, change of mindset is what is important. That's why I'm saying to connecting to the last person and making them educated and making them realize that, okay, we are not here for we are not going to upset your cart. We are here to help you out, and it's for everybody's good. That's small.
Thank you. I agree fully, and just want to add on to that. I think that is what is leadership's job. Break the barriers, get it done. That's the job. And that starts from the top, because that's purely the responsibility of the leadership. Point one. Important indicators in an organization. How do you know what's happening in Industry 4.0, 5.0? Pick up your capital expenses and see how much is going to spend on in the name of Industry 4.0, and you will find a lot of it. 20 robots, digital things, laptops, computers, so many things, okay? Maybe it's around 30-40% of your total capex. Pick up your HR training calendar and see what is the schedule of training on Industry 4.0. You will find it is 5% of the total, 7% of the total. It is not matching. Third important, pick up the review of the top management of Industry 4.0, number of hours spent on reviewing implementation of 4.0 and 5.0. It could be 0. And this is the bottleneck. Unless these three indicators match and they are above 50%, we will not be able to implement Industry 4.0 or 5.0. Second important challenge, and I think it is very, very important, is cybersecurity. Everything in Industry 4.0 is data, is the big data that we are talking, which are connected to machines, and it is your proprietary data. How your machines are performing, it's very close to your heart. It's your proprietary data. Unless you have right cybersecurity, we are in for a trouble. So right security systems are a must in case we need to move ahead step by step in the direction of Industry 5.0. Thank you.
Right. I just want to add one point here. So, how many of us believe that cyber security should be one of the key area of the top management? We can raise our hands now. So, this is the kind of focus we have.
Yeah, but how many top management people believe it is their KRA?
Now, that is another question. Now, that's another question. How many of top management really feel that should be their KRA? Oh my God.
Vikas, pick up the number of hours spent by top management on the issue we're discussing, and you will get your answers. Anything you want to put in focus, it could be your family, it could be company, it could be an initiative. We need to spend time and effort to get it done. Simple. There is no genie which is going to come and she will say, okay, today I have implemented Industry 5.0. Sorry, that's not going to happen.
I would like to add that many a time this cyber security word is overhyped by the vendors. So I think that again is another chapter. The cyber security is so hyped and all these big boys will come and they will offer you big threats which are so-called unconceivable, and that's what their job is. They have to make you fear. So I would say whenever even you talk of cybersecurity, please don't get so much scared and end up spending crore rupees for nothing. Just try to understand what are the real threats of the business. So somebody wants to sell you a package of 5 crore rupees, don't get bogged down. Just go into detail. You may need only 3 out of 20 things what he's offering.
Yeah, but Sushil, I want to add that last month, one of the biggest OEMs had to stop their assembly for more than a week. I would not like to take a name here, but more than a week because of cyber attack. I mean, imagine, your whole production got stopped for 7 days. Yeah. So it is a threat and it is important to address it. How we address is our intelligence. Each company will have its own strategy, but it is a threat for sure.
Yeah, thanks.
So
please.
So I will stick to your question of roadblock. So of course culture is one of the roadblock. So adding more to what already Mr. Sani said, the another key factor I would consider as a roadblock, अंधेरा है, ऊपर वाले को ज्ञान नहीं है, ये नहीं हो रहा है तो आगे क्या होगा? So basically, in absence of knowledge, we are actually moving into the unknown, venture as a country, that other will take advantage of this and remain in leadership position like developed country. So I see a KBC approach here. If you want to change culture, culture should be replaced with competency. So knowledge change the behavior, and behavior continuously, if you observe, that it converts into competency. So the KBC has to start from top, whether it is a government or anybody. Why there is no review in the management? Because there is no enforcement. Because we are ruled, we have been in that direction. If there is some policy coming, PLI scheme, automatically because of PNL mindset it will come. So the culture of PNL is, being taken, and, the human values are not considered. So basically Industry 5 is going to take care of the human values. The sharing of human values and value of those organizations, for example. So let's say Tata Motors, for example. So this is a human-centric organization. So they will do all the best to give the safe environment, less fatigue to the people, and they will continue to innovate in manufacturing, for example, and try to support the human values. So basically, Industry 5 is about caring of human values. The innovations happening is because of supply chain disruption in the Europe, and at the same time, they were innovating because they were not human. And available human people, I mean intelligent people, cannot do the dirty job. So their values were getting compromised. So today also in industry, this is the problem, our industry.
Right, thanks.
Yeah, so
Yeah, Mr. Vinit.
I want to highlight 2 points when it comes to bottleneck. The first one is, and usually this is what happens in the field, is for an organization not to have a very comprehensive and realistic strategy to go in this direction, taking into account the ground reality. Some of them probably are still at 2.0 or 3.0, and while we are talking about 5.0. So this realization that where your organization stands today, what are your ambitions, what are the gaps, the strategy should be based on these facts and figures before you embark on a journey of 5.0. That I see as a roadblock currently, because in the hurry of starting, in the fear of being left out, we kind of start something in the organization. But if we pay enough attention, enough time to evaluate the grand realities and come up with a very comprehensive and inclusive strategy for 5.0, that is one aspect I want to highlight. And the second aspect, again, I go back to my earlier point of people. Without having the right set of people in your organization, there is no way you can succeed in any technology initiative, whether it is 5.0, 4.0, 6.0. We have to critically evaluate where do we stand from a people's perspective as an organization. Did we do a skill assessment? Did we do a gap assessment? Do we have a plan in place to make sure that our current workforce is up to the mark of leveraging this technology? Do we need to hire more people, or do we still can rely on our current set and train them in this direction? This people aspect is very, very critical for us to succeed in any technology initiative. So these are the 2 points I wanted to highlight.
Oh, very, very well said. And maybe taking a clue from my fellow panelists, I would say, when you talk about bottlenecks, I feel that sometime, and we were talking about whether it should be from top or it should be from bottom. So I feel the bottlenecks are in the mind of the people. And I would like to share maybe few lines by Dushyant. He said, सोच बदलो, सितारे बदल जाएंगे. सोच बदलो, सितारे बदल जाएंगे. नज़र बदलो, नज़ारे बदल जाएंगे. नज़र बदलो, नज़ारे बदल जाएंगे. कश्तियाँ बदलने की ज़रूरत नहीं है. कश्तियाँ बदलने की ज़रूरत नहीं है. सिर्फ दिशा बदलो, किनारे बदल जाएंगे. सिर्फ दिशा बदलो, किनारे बदल जाएंगे.
Really.
So it's a matter of mindset. How you think at a problem, look at the culture within the organization. And because I work in the external space, I represent and talk a lot to the government. So I would say that there is a need for us to collaborate more effectively with the government, and we are led by a dynamic Prime Minister, Mr. Modi, and my colleagues have spoken already about him. The country has a vision for about 5 trillion economy, which is very ambitious, and I think the whole government and the whole machinery industry is, after it, and we are chasing this dream, and we'll make it a reality for sure. So, and when it comes to the schemes like production-linked incentive scheme, and government has an ambitious target of having 100 smart cities. So in order to make industries smart, when we talk about it, we should take example from the mission that Government of India adopted for making cities smart. I will not say that cities are smart 100% today, those 100 cities, but I will say a lot of processes, systems have improved, like we are talking about 3.0, 4.0, 5.0. They are somewhere around 2.50 at least as of now. So I think taking that example and having an approach of collaboration with the government, and government spent about, maybe the target is about 26 billion USD on all these production linked incentive scheme. And we need to have more and more production linked incentive scheme. As of now, the 14 sectors have been announced. And I think we need to, together as an industry and as colleague and as the manufacturer, we need to find out newer sectors. And one such sector maybe I feel is the chemical industry, wherein 2.5% of our GDP comes from chemical, 12.5% of our exports happening from chemical. 2 million people are employed in this sector. And this sector, not only chemical, kind of have the simpler example only on the chemical industry, but huge advantage on the fertilizers, huge advantage on the agriculture side, FMCG, it's used everywhere. So I think together as industry, as an expert and the people in this segment, we need to look at the newer ways of collaborating with the government and asking the right questions. And then how we can leverage that and ensure that we move towards the smart manufacturing. And when government talks about the smart manufacturing or PLI, they should be interdependent. PLI schemes should have the smart manufacturing as a component in it. Only you said you should get those incentives. So I think that's point number one. The point number two, which I was maybe speaking a little earlier about the smart people. So Prime Minister Modi talks about the Skill India and Digital India. How we can connect that Digital India and Skill India with the smart manpower for our manufacturing setup. I think that's how we need to align, and also over and above overarching factories, having the sustainability at the core. Because we need to leave this planet, better for the generations to come. Not only just manufacture and improve our GDP and overall performance and progress, but also look at the sustainability aspect at front. So I think these are the bottlenecks, these are the strength, and how we leverage it, it depends on all of us together and how we overcome it. My recommendation would be that if we have a problem, we talk about it. And good part is that today we are talking it so openly. So very happy, maybe I think this is a very relevant topic, and we should continue these debates and discussions.
Thanks, Mr. Swami. So I think after this, we will move to audience, if they allow us 1 and 2 questions, right?
Yeah. So talking about bottleneck, maybe sometime the product itself can become the bottleneck for the industry. So for me, coming with the practical exposure, I would like to say that maybe baby steps are very crucial when you come from manufacturing industry. With the shop floor exposure, I would like to say that Kaizen is the key. Continuous improvement is the key. Every day you have to focus on that improvement part. Instead of that turning the table overnight, maybe no miracle gonna happen in a day or two. It's not that every area is so much gray. Not 100% area is the problematic area. Maybe that 10-20% area is the problematic area, which needs to be identified. So that continuous improvement will help us identify, that can help us get to the most out of the business. So that's something for me. The main thing here I would like to highlight is that instead of focusing too much on that data or something, maybe we first know ourselves. That gap analysis, self-realization is very crucial. And after that, maybe we can focus on that particular area, maybe particular department, and then that's how things can turn for the industry.
Great thoughts. So with this, I'm inviting few questions from the audience, so they can raise hands. And I'll start with the back first. Last one, please. The blue one, yeah. Yes, what? Yes.
Good evening. My name is Nilesh, and I am from Surya Fresh. My question to the panelists is, as the literacy rate in India is very low, and we are talking about manufacturing 4.2 or 5.2, and are we really ready to implement that? And secondly, how, other than big companies, how the smaller companies or the SMEs would be able to do that? I think panelists can share how we will be able to implement it.
I think this question was there 20 years ago, 30 years ago also, when we started to going for mobile phones. So with the penetration of mobile phone has told us how smart our so-called unskilled people are, how smart our SMEs are. I won't say a pan wala guy or your milk guy. Now everybody under the sun is using YouTube, they're using Instagram, everybody's using WhatsApps. So I think we are underestimating the power of our people. And I'm not saying these words 4.0 or 5.0 are references, but the kind of success which our, for example, UPI system has got, even the most skilled countries haven't got it. So I would say Indians are more curious. They want to learn. They don't need books to learn. So we have given them a pretty cute mobile phone in hand. I think we are there, if it answers the questions.
You have a question, sir?
Yeah, please. Tempted to share, honestly, after hearing the discussions. And I believe, and what I'm trying to say, in food safety, we talk about a term called HACCP. I'm sure a lot of you know. Mr. Suri knows very well. It's hazard analysis and critical control points. And it applies to me, I think, here the most. Where do you really focus? Where do you pay attention to? Where do you really go for, if you're talking of automation or digitalization or a way of working, for people, and it will depend from their own perspective. So their own thinkers, their own teams will let you know where to pinpoint and bring the changes. If you try giving it to a consultant, and that's what I think you were saying, cyber security, especially that struck me. Where is the real hazard? You must know. And what is the critical control point? No point in putting a blanket over everything, a very expensive blanket, and then go for it. So that was one thought I just had. I thought I'll share. Thank you.
The expensive blanket, not in the name of Industry 4.0 or 5.0, right?
Yeah, it's going to be a difficult question for you all. I represented 15 years in garment industry, and last 15 years I'm in auto industry. I agree to his statement. People who have less education, they behave very positive. Those people who are more educated, they behave the other way. The example is, go to any boardroom, to connect to any meeting, you need an IT guy. What process one has to follow that senior management brings in corrections in this process? Some highlights on that, so that is very crucial, because all the panelists clearly said that top is the problem. How we are going to bring corrections?
I will add one point before you start taking up.
Bring in corrections on those.
Maybe you have to give some examples, because you are leaders of your own industries. So give him some examples where you have faced a situation.
So, taking example to the IT guy calling in the board.
The challenge is already given to him.
Yeah.
It's a tough
So,
question.
Talking to because we have to be very practical. His question is Jameen pe hai. So, a guy who is calling to the IT guy has outsourced that thinking of understanding every time. So, knowledge is not coming at top itself. And then we are talking about everything else. So why do you need next time? Or that system itself is not okay. There is error. That itself is not so appropriate. Or it is so intelligent that top person doesn't understand, who is driving the so larger organization vision. And is calling IT guy. Maybe he is not so literate like him. Maybe so not so visionary like him. So maybe it is, perhaps it is okay, but not everywhere. So again, I have come to the top. We have to demonstrate our behavior down the line. That what we are talking, are we really honoring? Or we talk and forget and expect that bottom people will do the miraculous job.
Can I also take? Please. I think I appreciate your question, and it's a very deep question, first of all. However, to comment, I don't think we should be judgmental in saying that people who are less literate are better than the people. I think it's passing a very big judgment. I think we should avoid that. That's my view, personal. I can give you hundreds of examples which is contrary to this statement. Very simply said, if the top guy is not ready for such things, he should be out. Sorry, I am being very straight. He's not fit for that position. If you retain him, it's your problem. If the organization wants to progress, organization will be led by the leader who believes in the progress. As simple, let's keep it very simple. If he is not doing it, the organization needs a new leadership. The problem lies in our acceptance of status quo. देख लेंगे, कर लेगा, चल तो रहा है, नया आदमी कहाँ से लाएंगे, उसने मेरे साथ 15 साल निकाले हैं, 20 साल. Fine, then it's your choice. It's your choice. You made the choice. Simply put, top person has to constantly evolve and see the future. That's his role. That's his role. Having said that, I don't expect him to check the projector. If given a challenge, he will do it. Trust me, he'll do it better than the IT guy. But he's focusing somewhere else. But he needs to have the right vision and the trajectory for the organization. If it is not there, we need to change. Simply, very blunt, straight answer.
I think it has been answered since the question is complicated. So I would also add in a little lighter manner that top management job, like Mr. Sani said, top management job is vision. So if in this room we are discussing the vision, we are not discussing execution. If I have to set up a project, for example, if I have to set up, say, a bottling project, or I have to set up a mine, I don't go and set up mines. I hire an agency for that. So similarly, if I have to do digitization, I will go and hire an agency for that. I will call the experts, choose expert. So I have to have expertise only to choose an expert. So experts have to do. So we don't need to be so educated to do everything. We all need jobs. सारा कुछ खुद करेंगे तो बाकी दुनिया क्या करेगी? So top management is only for vision and strategy. Once we say we need to implement, there are people who will be ready to implement.
And add on, I think I'll add on vision, strategy, and execution.
Yeah.
In the word CEO, the center is executive.
That's true.
Let's not forget.
True.
Chief Executive Officer. Executive.
It has to be execution.
You have to bloody well execute. मैं तो सोचूंगा, मैं आगे sorry, get it executed. That's your job. That's your title. Chief Executive of Chief. Get the things executed. You may know it, you may not do it, but you need to take organization forward as per the trends happening across the world. That's your job. If you can't do it, move out. Let somebody else do it. Simple.
I think I must appreciate Vikas also and all fellow colleagues. It was not like coming here and talking whatever we can answer because we are a very good speaker. Believe me, Mr. Sani and everybody was talking, who is moderator, what we are going to deliver. Otherwise, Google it and come here and talk. It will not resonate with you. Everything is available. So, even though being accountable to be very practical here relevant to our country, we tried to prepare till the last minute and we were debating. That is where the focus is needed. Otherwise, short time pass. And then, वो फिर अगली बार कंप्यूटर चलेगा नहीं उसको बुलाना पड़ेगा.
ठीक है, वो क्वेश्चन एग्जाम्पल कुछ गड़बड़ हो गया. My question is still not answered. How we are going to bring in corrections? That was I was not blaming.
Sir, I want to assure you before your next question comes, I have a competence capability to satisfy you with right answers. Ask the question.
I am not asking question how to bring in. I am also one of the CXOs. I am also like you. ठीक है, MD का वो post नहीं है मेरे पास. But other than that, we are also running business of 15-20,000 crores.
Right.
We agree to that.
Right.
How to bring in corrections? I was also including myself. It's not a posing question on you, because I was also few years back. Before I reached this level, I also had some problems. I got it corrected. How to bring that correction? That was the question.
Sir. Nowhere to disrespect you. You are a learned man, and nowhere in my answer I had a disrespect for you, for sure. I respect, all respects for you. In my statement, I said that top has to be constantly evolving. I made this statement, which actually answers, how do we evolve? Change process. जो आप कह रहे हो, मैं उसको evolve कह रहा हूँ. How do these forums, these questions, you know what's happening in the world. Today we are talking of Industry 4.0. If as a top, I don't take initiative in my organization, I am doing injustice to the organization and to my job. Trust me, because that's my role. Second, how do you learn? For first, there has to be spark within that since it is my role, I need to learn. Then I need to talk to somebody like you. Boss, you have implemented in your organization, or Sushil, you have done it. Tell me what are the challenges. This is the first point. And then you have to form your support group. All top people will have a support group. They all pass through challenges, different challenge, and they have their support group where you talk to each other. I am passing through this. Other guy, somebody will say, yes, I have gone through this, do this. No books will give you the ready-made solution. It is so fluid. So it is that quest of evolving and learning at the top. That is important. Many people, when they reach a particular position, the learning curve slows down. And there the problem starts.
Thanks.
That's why कौन बढ़ेगा करोड़पति बोला मैंने, KBC. Knowledge, change behavior, and that converts into competency. That's all. Sorry.
Yeah, I think we are running out of time. So, can we take more questions?
If audience is interested.
Okay, fine.
So there are a few thoughts, no questions, relevant to the topics we are discussing.
Please give me a mic.
The first one was regarding the security, right? So that is my practical experience कि हम जब security की बात करते हैं, we are more biased about IT. मेरे हिसाब से IT का एक जो security measure है already एक mature level पर है. We should more focus on the OT side. क्योंकि जो legacy machines हैं, वो design ही नहीं हुई कभी इस purpose के लिए कि उनको IT से integrate करेंगे. So that is number one, my take or my suggestion based on my practical experience. The number two was regarding the bottleneck from the leadership. So whatever I have heard, based on my experience, leadership जो है, उस leadership is focused more on ROI. वो कहते हैं कि आप digital implementation करेंगे, then what would be the ROI? My take is digital implementation में you will not get the ROI. Actionable insights जो आएंगे, whatever actions you are supposed to take, that will deliver the business value and that will create ROI. So this is what we need to understand कि digital implementation is a tool to help you realize the business value. Implementation से ही action से ही ROI आएगा, ना कि digitalization को adopt करने से.
You are right, and I want to add something.
And okay.
Very right. I want to ask you a counter question. What is the ROI of an airbag that we have in the car?
See, ROI for the airbag is, it is directly related to safety, so it is invaluable.
What is the ROI of airbag? If you don't, you buy a car, you sell it after 10 years, your airbag has not been used.
Yeah.
What is the ROI?
Obviously, it is zero.
But you want it, right?
100%.
Why?
That is safety.
So,
Which
that is where leadership comes in.
Yes.
Everything is not ROI.
Yes.
Everything is not cut and dried. There are emotions where you're dealing with team, which are not quantified. Company needs, employees need motivation. It's not quantified.
Yes.
Respect versus humiliation, not quantified. But
Agree.
they are extremely important
Yes.
to run a right organization.
So that is what leadership has to understand.
Absolutely. So leadership works on those softer aspects which are invisible.
Yes.
Which are invisible. And therefore, leadership becomes more and more important.
Yes.
What he can see, a leader can see, is not visible. But he sees, makes up his mind, takes a decision.
Agreed.
It is called sensing.
Agreed.
Sensing of the environment. I can sense the environment of the hall, for example. So that is where sometimes ROI becomes secondary. And as you said, safety becomes important. So that is where decision making comes in.
Yes. I would like to add one more because we are talking about benefits which is tangible and intangible. Whenever I am discussing, so intangible are invaluable. Suppose आज मैं एक AC बंद कर दूं यहाँ का, next 5 minutes everybody will like to leave, right? So we are efficient because we are comfortable. We are comfortable because air conditioner is running and the environment is cool, calm and collective. Thereby we are interacting.
और इसमें से एक दो आदमी ऐसे होंगे जो आज के मोती पिकअप करके अपना माइंड चेंज करके आगे बढ़ जाएंगे, वो ROI है.
बिल्कुल. And agreed. And the third thing, a gentleman from the backside, उन्होंने कहा कि जो SMEs हैं या जो lower blue workers हैं, they are uneducated, तो उनको adopt करने में there is a challenge. I humbly disagree because I am working with SMEs 36 clusters. मेरे हिसाब से जो lower level है या blue collars है, they are more adaptive to change. Because they know कि अगर हमने adapt नहीं किया, then they would not be able to survive. Right? Bottleneck ऊपर से आता है जो बहुत ही समझदार होते हैं. Right? नीचे वाले उतने नहीं हैं, they coolly adopt. Example मैं एक ही देता हूँ, मैंने कहा शनिदेव, जब आप शनिवार को जाते हैं ना, तो जो दान वाला होता है उसने भी आजकल बारकोड लगा रखा है, क्योंकि उसको भी 5 रुपये और 10 रुपये कोई देता नहीं है, स्कैन करते हैं, तो he is also adopted to the reality. So this is what I just wanted to share. Thanks.
I would like to add that whenever we implement any new scheme change, to implement in corporate office, there's more resistance, but in factories, it is easily implemented. So I think that answers the
Let's take another question.
This is more of an observation answering one of his questions, and there was a question around cyber security.
Please go ahead.
Just to let everyone know here, there are standards in place even under the Information Technology Act, which are usually implementable on an IT environment. So cybersecurity is a part of it. Cybersecurity is, as someone rightly said from the panelists, it is a hype, but cybersecurity is a part of information security. So you need to get yourselves, or most of the manufacturing units essentially should look at implementing an information security standard. Some of these are known as NIST, which is from the US. Something that can be easily implemented is an ISO 27001. It will help you to get all the parts of your assessments, security assessments done in an easier way. Essentially also helping you improve and bring in more customers for yourself, because if you're wanting to do exports, they will look at these certifications. Now addressing his question, talking about security in the OT domain, well, there are equivalent standards as well. Something that I'm aware of is an IEC 62243, which is a parallel to an ISO 27001 as applies in an IT environment. Similar things, which is essentially no rocket science. You do an assessment, focus on what is to be done, fix the gaps, and try to improve your competence. And if you do both of these, I'm sure you should be able to make every manufacturing unit in the country within 5 years' time to reach and get what we call as, what is the discussion tray? Manufacturing 5.0, right? So you should be able to easily do it. Believe me, any organization out here aims at getting an ISO 27001 for their IT environment, a 62243 for their OT environment. They should be able to embrace all of these changes steadfastly and have accelerated digital transformation. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
I think this would be the last question. So lady right there, please give him a mic. Give her a mic.
Thank you. And what I want to say is partly an observation, partly a question, because you're all CEOs, CXOs sitting here. We're talking about manufacturing 5.0. I'm not talking about digitalization here. I'm one of the few women here, and I just want to make a point. Fortunately, or not fortunately, by chance, I happen to have a global job, so I travel all over the world. What I just want to say is, when I land in a country, for example, in Zurich, that's our headquarters, very easily I take the public transport at 12 a.m. at night. I don't feel scared. I feel scared in Delhi. I'll call a driver. What I want to ask you is, what are you doing in your organizations to make sure that women feel safe? How are you going to make sure that manufacturing 5.0 includes women? You know, unless you feel safe and respected, you cannot operate. And the sad truth of our country is that women, especially in North India, very honestly speaking, women don't feel safe after a particular time at night, I don't know, in the evening. And it starts from each and every human being. So if you work towards instilling the culture, culture has to be instilled everywhere, from parents, from school, from the country, but including in the organizations you work. Surely you can have 50% of our country's women can't get into the economy for such reasons. And it's such a sad thing that our culture is making this happen. So I hope as CXOs, you're doing something about
sure.
it.
Wonderful thought and wonderful angle. I think this is one of the part which we have been discussing at the first panel, the first topic. So here I would like to add something. So when we talk about gender, how it works, the main thing is that the society is also at the manufacturing. So we first think that it is not worker, it's people. The people is both. Many of the companies, when we apply for a job, or maybe we go for higher studies, the people, there are a lot of things they ask sex. We should never go to those companies. I have made a principle when there is a column, simply don't go for it, because here the differences start. So when we devise a strategy, in many companies we have different strategy for women at the workplace. Here the differentiation starts. We, for example, in India, when we go to some bus, we have a separate seating arrangement. Here the differentiation starts. The differentiation starts from looking at the things. So when this kind of differentiation in the policies, in the procedure, in the thought process, when this will stop, it will start coming up in all our activities, and that is the way. Then I will invite senior folks, they may add the viewpoint over it.
So thank you, ma'am, for asking very powerful question. As India is still man-driven country, पैतृक बोलते हैं ना हिंदी में उसको. So basically, we are all expecting most of the things from again top, but everything I think we as a citizen are equally responsible, as a corporate also, as a business also, as a plant also, or whatever business we are doing. So definitely, as a corporate company, our group has a very strong, focused policies, roadmap, framework, and it is not started today. It started from a long time, I would say more than 2 decades, 3 decades. So we have policies around the women centricity, the gender diversity, the percentage of women at staff level, at even the shop floor. In fact, they are doing the greater job than the man, because there is an attitude difference between man and woman. So when it comes to adaptability, to accept as it is the direction or the demand from the organization, they are forced to accept it wholeheartedly and they don't apply the mind. So there are many advantages when it comes to the woman as a value. So women have their own values. One has to understand the importance of it and then take it as a total overall human values dividation. Then you will find it, women are superior. So once the organization, top leader, individual people understand policies are there around it, there will be definitely women's safety to guarantee how they reach back home safely, how they are also at home and around safe in this digital world, whether because people can disturb around that time also, how digital policies are taken care, how you are protecting her in these digital disruptions. So we have all linkages. I would not say the Industry 5 comes there or not, but definitely it is there. You don't need to wait for these cultural, issues. So there are policy. If you want, we can discuss outside this, but we are proud about that, and we are giving secure work safe place. Safe work. Thank you.
I would like to only add that as corporate citizens, we all sitting in this room, we all know that every company is doing its bit to do whatever it for its own team member, for its own employees. But I don't think I want to highlight that what all we are doing, what is Big Four doing, what is BCG doing, what is American Express doing. I think we are all doing our bit. But I think the question is much bigger, And I would say the way we are seeing the change now, and I'm not saying now means last 5 years or last 10 years or 20 years, country is evolving. So even if today we say that, okay, we have cabs available at airport, for us that is also a luxury. There was a time ki airport pe aake gaadi nahi milti thi. So at least we have the so-called the Ubers of the world, at least 24/7 the facilities are available. We are evolving, and as a generation we are evolving, and last couple of years, whatever has happened in the social media, whatever is happening on the Instagram, and whatever is happening on, I would say, the women entrepreneurs, whatever is happening in the startup ecosystem, we all notice that 30 to 40, 50%, up to 50% women entrepreneurs are coming. So I think it's a change we are happening, but I would still say a long way to go, and we are with you. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, thank you.
To make this happen, manufacturing 5.0 is also there. So inclusiveness of women is there. For that purpose, I personally go and educate 11th and 12th class students why they should adapt. No one takes mechanical. If you see, after that, everyone will go for CSE. I go and explain them for future how it is going to help them. This industry is going to help the other untapped area where we can use. This is the contribution which I am doing. Probably that will help manufacturing, number one. Number two, if we want to grow, the untapped area should be considered. So that was one of the reasons why I am trying to go and tell why they should go for mechanical than of CSE. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. So really thankful to the kind of sincerity and integrity and the real kind of enthusiasm the panel member have really answered all the questions, and the kind of interaction which we had covering all the topics starting from people, process, technology, and a human aspect as well. Thank you. Yeah, thank you very much. So hopefully we will have more sessions like that. So we are looking forward for it.
The parting word would be go connect with the family, go hug your spouse. Today. बोल देना आज कुछ मजा आ गया यार. That's where the difference is. ये provided हटाना है. Just I think go connect with yourself, connect with the family, connect with the outside, connect with the garden outside. I think we have a wonderful country, wonderful people around us. हम छोटी-छोटी उलझनों में उलझे रहते हैं. आज थोड़ा मस्ती हो जाए. Thank you, guys.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, can we have a round of applause for this wonderful session here?